My family and I were riding our bicycles on the bike path between Cookville and Allgood. We're on our way back from Cinderella Park when we saw a young girl in the distance running away from something, what it seemed to be, and you could hear yelling in the background. As she got closer, my wife asked her if she was okay. She stopped and said that he has a knife and he grabbed me. I had my pistol on me, so I grabbed my pistol and my identification, and I took off in the direction that she had just came from. And the yelling was still continuing as I was running. My wife stayed with the young lady while they made the 911 call. The area that I went in, the path curved one way, and the paved path curved one way, and then there was a path through the woods that curved the other way. And I knew he was still there, although I couldn't see him because he was still yelling. Couldn't make out what he was yelling, but he was clearly yelling at her. And come to find out what had happened is she had fought and got away from him, disarmed him, and took off running until she encountered us. I didn't know that at the time. I was running towards what I believed to be someone armed with a knife. So because of that, I wanted to take him by surprise, so I went through the woods that went the reverse direction of what the paved path did and came up behind him. I identified myself as an off-duty state trooper, told him to put his hands up and get down on his belly. Well, I don't believe that it was a coincidence at all. I believe it was a God thing. I believe that timing could not be explained as anything other than God intervening in that situation.
I responded to a deer crash with injuries on Interstate 40, mile marker 174. It was in the nighttime, in the evening, and then as I got there, I was the first one to arrive on scene. There was a car on the left shoulder of the road, and then a car on the right shoulder. Initially, I didn't notice the injuries to the driver once I got there, and I was trying to get traffic moving. And then I looked through the passenger side window and saw the driver of the SUV that was still sitting in the driver's seat, and she was covered in blood. Looked down in the floor and I saw a piece of the broken antler laying in the floorboard. At that point, I kind of put everything together and figured out that the deer had come through the windshield, and then that the antler had stuck in the side of her neck, and then the other hole in the back of the seat where the other antler had just gone over her shoulder and stuck in the back of the seat. As far as her demeanor, she was very calm, which was surprising with the extent of the injuries. She was very calm. She talked to me the whole time. And a couple of things she was saying had me concerned, just because she kept saying she was tired and she wanted to go to sleep, and I knew that was a bad sign. So I just kind of kept her talking, just getting information from her, just to keep her talking and awake. From talking to her mother the day after, and some of the things I've heard from the hospital staff, she didn't really realize it was that bad initially, until everybody started kind of gathering around, and obviously when I got there, having to hold pressure on her neck. And after I left the hospital, they decided to go ahead and take her to Skyline, and then they did an emergency surgery to repair the artery in her neck.
On May the 19th, 2017, at approximately 3 p.m. Central Time, Trooper Swafford initiated a traffic stop on US Highway 41 in Marion County. Later, about 2 minutes later, radio traffic shots were fired.
I know you got a gun.
10-4, all units, 1033 traffic. 2273, did you advise shots fired? 2273, signal 21. 2273, signal 21.
At that time, it became from a 1081 to a signal 20 officer involved shooting. My heart dropped at that point because I did not know if Trooper Swafford had been shot or if the suspect had been shot. We located the subject with a handgun in his lap at that time. Come to find out, Trooper Swafford had not been shot. He is the one that fired his weapon. He fired his weapon twice due to the suspect. He had the weapon pointed to his head, and then he pointed the weapon at Trooper Swafford. So Trooper Swafford had that instant moment, split-second decision to make a decision on whether he was going to fire his weapon or not. He ended up getting 2 shots off. He did not shoot the subject, but we located the subject with 2 handguns. One of the handguns was stolen from Georgia at the time. That call was finally closed out on the morning of the 20th at 1 a.m. So I was panicking but I couldn't let them see that I was panicking on whether it was Trooper Swafford or whether it was the suspect. We're all family, but at the end of the day, they're all my brothers and sisters, and I have one mission, and that's to send every one of them home safe to their families.
I pulled onto the interstate, began traveling east. I gained a traffic violation on 2 different vehicles. Upon them stopping, I spoke with the occupants of each vehicle. The vehicle that was registered out of Tennessee, I found nothing suspicious or out of the ordinary about that, and they were quickly released from the traffic violation with a warning. Upon making contact with the occupants of the New Mexico plated vehicle, certain things happened where I gained probable cause to search the vehicle. Upon having my head directly next to the driver's side rear tire, I was looking upward, and in that area, there's a plastic skirt that fits behind your tire. I took my pry tool, slid it in behind that piece of plastic and pulled out and shined my light up, and I could see a very small piece of silver metal, and instantaneously I knew what it was from the shape of it, that it was a pipe rivet. Our lieutenant, Wayne Dunkelman, he came out to assist us. He ended up driving that vehicle, Love's truck stop, and upon lifting the vehicle, we were able to remove both rear tires, and on the driver's side rear, upon moving the tire and the plastic search, you could immediately see a small metal door, and upon moving that door, we saw kilo packages. That particular compartment went the entire width of the vehicle from one side to the other. It was approximately this wide, about this deep, and like I said, the entire width. There could have been more contraband than was actually concealed inside the vehicle at the time. In total, there were 5 kilo packages that weighed approximately 11.5 pounds of cocaine that was discovered in the vehicle at the time of the stop.
When I arrived on the scene, I immediately noticed that the water was way higher than what I'd ever seen there before. It had kind of a milk chocolate color, and there was a lot of debris floating down the stream and coming over the falls as well. The helicopter that I was in that day was the OH-58 with no rescue capabilities. So the only thing that I could do is to attempt a skid rescue, to hover down low and pull the people into the aircraft one at a time. I observed one of the people that were stranded in the floodwaters get swept away. He appeared to be a young teenage male. It helped me a little bit when I saw the young man get swept away and realized that this was, there was imminent danger to the rest of the people. The decision for me to do what I did was I equated it to pulling the trigger on a gun. I was concerned about doing the wrong thing or the right thing. My training and experience is what made this happen. We spend a lot of time flying, and routinely we land in small areas. The way we move the aircraft in and out of the hangar by landing on small dollies. So flying in confined areas and maneuvering in confined areas is something that we do.